Good afternoon. The date is Tuesday, June 18th. The time is 3 p.m. I'd like to call to order the June meeting of the Norwalk Board of Fire Commissioners. We have a quorum with Commissioner DeStrouge, Commissioner Dixon, Commissioner Paskind, and Mayor Rilling. First order of business is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of Tuesday, May 21st. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeStrouge. Do we have any corrections, deletions, or omissions?
Yes, on the call to order, page 1, second line, mayor was or would be joining. I think we said was joining or would be. I don't think we should have both.
Okay.
And then on the next line, Commissioner Dixon seconded, not Commissioner Fine.
Okay. Any other corrections, deletions, or omissions?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next, item number 3, we have no action items. Item 4, Chief, your budget report.
Okay, so obviously we're through 11 months of the year. And we've been stressing over the salary expenses and overtime expenses. And extrapolating for one more month, it looks like we will be able to cover both of those without having to transfer anything into those accounts, which is a good sign. Even though last year the salary was at almost 1.4 million. We have 2.4 available. And the overtime was 565 and we have 625. So barring any crazy stuff, we should be all right as far as the salary goes. The actual operating budget, you'll notice that we are overall at 81.5, where we could be as high as 91.
Mm-hmm.
But don't go by that 81 because we are purchasing things at the last minute and we're paying for things this month, which will be reflected on the next month report. So looks like we're doing a great job, which we are, but we're not really at 81. We're probably higher than that, but certainly under 91. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. And finally, the sick time year to year, we're still lower this year than we were last year. And we're lower for the month of May than we were last year, the month of May. So that's all trending in the right direction.
Good.
So that's the report for the budget. And we'll have more detail, obviously, next month.
Okay, kudos.
Yes,
Always good to
kudos.
see- Always good to see the budget working nicely, and certainly the firefighters that are the less sick time being used is great.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners?
I have a question, perhaps education for our new fire commissioners. On the firefighting budget, page 1, what's the difference between account 5271 and 5276? Clothing and uniform, purchase of uniform.
Okay, one is every year, July 1st, the firefighters get a stipend for clothing maintenance.
Uh-huh.
And that is
That's the 5271, probably.
right, I think that's that one there, right?
Okay.
And the purchase of uniforms would be everything that, you know, when you first get on the job, there's so much shirts and pants and stuff like that that's issued to you.
Right.
So
So being that we haven't hired as many as we would have wanted to, that's why we're at about 70% on the purchase of uniform. Got it. It makes sense.
Right, okay.
I just wanted to be informed, Mayor, but great job. Thank you as always. Yeah, Chief, I mean.
Any further questions?
I did have another one. That's another curiosity. We must be the biggest customer for water. 'Cause I saw that our annual budget is at 357. Well, that was just a curiosity. Are we the biggest client?
We're probably close to it.
I'm not sure which,
Under
Line item,
firefighting,
under
52
firefighting,
5242 water.
okay. I'm not sure if that's the hydrant rental one. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, we can leave it for another month.
I can look it up quick.
Okay.
So yes, that water 5242 does include all of the hydrant rentals that we have. And it also includes the painting project that we have for the hydrants and maintenance projects.
Okay.
6,000 for that, so your prices went up 3% from 22, year 22. And that's the new figure, where are we here?
357 was the budgeted,
Right, well, it's going up to 372,
right? Because we
Next year.
spent 362.
right? So unfortunately, we're at the mercy of the water companies.
Okay, thank you for the education, Chief.
No problem.
Any further questions? Okay, next we have the Assistant Fire Chief of Administration. Don't see him here.
Mark is on vacation.
Okay,
I'm going to read his report. So basically, the first one is A, station alerting system upgrade. So that's the Purvis system, which is an automated dispatch where they announce the calls. We went live last week. A few bugs here and there, but overall, it's pretty good response to the new system. Also included in that is the Norwalk EMS and Rowayton Volunteer Fire Department are also being automatically dispatched, automated dispatch. A few updates on the buildings. The apparatus floor at Station 1, which is in Broad River. We just got the approval last night from Finance and Claims to hire this geotechnical company to do bore drilling for test holes for the soil testing and slab inspection. So once that goes to Common Council and we get approval, we'll be hiring that company to do the work. Then should get a detailed report as to what exactly is needed to correct the problem. The apparatus floor at Station 3, the RFP went out and it was scheduled to be opened on the 13th, which it was. There were 3 contractors that bid on the job. And there's a meeting on Thursday with one of the contractors to go over some additional information. Once that gets approved, we'll go to Corporation Council for a contract and then hopefully start work in a month or 2. The building renovation at Station 4. Mark met with both Alan Lowe and Neil from Guardian, and they're going to do some minor repairs in the meantime. And then citywide, he's got the overhead door replacement, which was approved in the 25 capital project. We'll begin that probably right after July. Start changing the doors, overhead doors. C is a record management software upgrade. We're converting from this company called ESO to this company called First Due. It's basically the software that we use to report our incidents, and it's much more involved as far as ESO was. You can do a lot more things with it. So we decided to go with that company, but again, that's waiting for the corporate council and corporation council to finalize everything. So talk about that, I'm sure, in the next month or two. And that's pretty much his report. If you have questions.
Commissioners have any questions?
No.
No, thank you.
Okay. So we will move on to the Assistant Fire Chief of Operations, Assistant Chief McCabe.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Under operations, item A was the tanker and bridge fire on May 2nd. And we discussed this incident in last month's meeting, and I've provided a synopsis in your agenda, so I won't read it word for word. But I'd like to reiterate that this call presented numerous challenges from the moment the bell hit. And thanks to the hard work and the tactics deployed by the personnel on scene, the incident was handled before it became catastrophic, with no civilian injuries and only one firefighter leg injury. So my hat is off to Deputy Chief Reardon and his shift on a job well done. Item B.
Same thing. I think we all feel the same way. Remarkable job.
Yes.
Thank you. Under item B, we put 8 probationary firefighters on the job on May 23rd. And as we've done with the last 4 classes that we've put on, their first week began with a week of intensive skills building training. So this has kind of become known as the NFD Academy. And it takes the skills that these recruits learned at the Connecticut Fire Academy, and it raises it a bar to really expert level. So we have firefighters here from Norwalk and fire officers from Norwalk from in-house who run the recruits through various skills that they'll need when they get onto shift. And it takes them through repetition. It gives them techniques that are used here in town in Norwalk, so that by the time they do get onto the engines and onto the trucks, they're completely ready for the calls that they're going to be presented with. And they've spent a week working with the officers and the firefighters that they will be working with on shift. So I'd like, for the record, to thank Deputy Chief Markowitz, who has created this mini academy. He organizes it every year and does a great job with that. And also to the Norwalk firefighters and fire officers who participate as instructors. We always get very good feedback from the recruits, and many of them say that it's the best training they had received to date. So that went very well again this year, and now those firefighters are on shift.
Very good.
Item C, we had a meeting with Eversource representatives to discuss priority responses to utility emergencies. And item D, the new tactical rescue support truck build is on schedule. And we had a meeting this week about the air compressor, which will be installed on this truck, which will allow us to fill SCBA bottles at the scene of a fire. And delivery of this truck is on schedule for year end. Under calls for the month of May, we had 646 incidents, averaging just under 21 per day. We had 16 fires, including 2 building fires, 41 rescues. Of those, 35 were motor vehicle accidents, 366 emergency medical calls, 30 hazardous conditions, 23 service calls, 104 fire alarms, and 66 good intent. So looking at the year so far through May 31st, we are at 3,211 incidents and 5,048 total responses. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, so looks like you're going up an average of maybe 2 calls a day or so. I think it used to be a pretty standard 19 calls per day, and you're up to 21. But total incidents, you're up quite a bit.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
on track for where we'd normally be about this time of year.
Right, got you. The other thing that I think we need to sit down and discuss, we might have mentioned it prior, not at a prior meeting, I don't think, but we know that there's going to be some response now for 6th taxing district,
Yes,
and you're working with them. Now, traditionally, the 6th taxing district, when we do the yearly operating budget, we pull out all the fire-related items because they didn't have a response from Norwalk Fire unless it was an absolute mutual aid necessity. But now it looks like there's going to be more of a routine response, I believe. So we're going to have to sit down and talk about how that affects the operating budget as it relates to the 6th taxing district, and how we can analyze what the total amount should be.
yeah, and we since that agreement is now in place, we should be able to generate some numbers as far as how often, we are responding there. So to reiterate what we discussed last month, we're now sending a full assignment to possible structure fires in the 6th district, where in the past we would only send an engine and a truck, and then we would call more resources as needed. But the recent incidences, the recent structure fires in Rowayton, has generated this need to see that we send enough resources to assist their fire department and to make sure that we have the personnel and equipment on scene that they may need in that instance. So both sides have agreed to this new arrangement, and in a few months' time we should be able to generate some numbers for you.
You think there's any potential for staffing of the NFD down at the Rowayton Firehouse at all?
That wasn't discussed in the meeting this time around. It was more of an automatic aid agreement between the two departments, because Rowayton the volunteer department has always had jurisdiction in that district. However, we're always willing to sit down and discuss future possibilities, but that's not anything that's on the table right now.
All right, yeah, let's just keep that out in front, so we have sit down, have a meeting, and figure out. The 6th taxing district commissioners have also been kind of briefed that this is something that's going to be under discussion.
Okay, very good.
For,
I can, Mayor,
for the
I can see that, I
I'm
can
sorry, go
see
ahead.
that happening if Rowayton can't produce the volunteers to answer the call.
Hmm.
And I can see Norwalk staffing that building.
It might be something that we want to take a look at for the edification of Commissioner Dixon and Commissioner Paskind. As I mentioned before, all expenses related to fire services are pulled out of the 6th taxing district and spread across the other 5, so that the 6th taxing district, as a result, has a lower mill rate because they don't pay for fire service, and I guess there's lighting and other things as well. And garbage collection. So we'll have to take a look at that, how that affects our operating budget and what the costs might be to add back into the operating budget for pertaining to the 6th taxing district.
Okay, we could do that.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mayor.
Any questions or other questions for Deputy Chief McCabe, Assistant Chief McCabe?
No questions. Great job. And thank you for the full report.
Thank you.
One quick question relevant to the foam truck from King Industries. Have
Yes.
we utilized that activity or that function before?
We've never had the need to call them before. All of our fire engines do have the capacity to flow foam, but we carry the foam in foam buckets where it's not pre-piped to the pump, like the King truck has. So you know, we had already started flowing foam on the opposite side of the bridge the morning of the tanker fire, but this truck getting on scene allowed us to flow the foam at a higher volume and more quickly. So we've never really had an incident like this where we needed it in that capacity before, but being that we train with King and we're familiar with their resources, it was the call to make in that particular instance.
Absolutely. Fires and foam around fuel has always
Yes.
been close to my thought process. That's what-
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you. You guys did an excellent job there, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Fire Marshal McDonald.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. So the summary of fire marshal activities for the month of May, the numbers fluctuate a little bit. Our total number of inspections went from 187 last month down to 148. But we did also have the 4 buildings that we inspected for the mega multi inspections. 2 of those were Waypoint buildings, one of the Glover Avenue buildings, and one of the old Avalon buildings on Belden Avenue. So that just those 4 buildings totaled 713 apartments that we inspected.
Wow.
The notifications went up actually, 18 up to 42. We did 1 public education event at Honus Ridge Middle School. That's for their STEM projects. Plan reviews, we were up 31 at 4,400, and that was up from 18 last month at $1,500. Liquor licenses stayed the same, $230, and our total income for the month again was up based on the plan reviews. We were at 4,530. Probably most important to notice or recognize compared to last month was that the number of fires, we only had 3 compared to 9 last month. One of those, one was a code hazard for a total of 4 call outs for the fire marshal division. And that was it. So the numbers did fluctuate a bit, but be happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. Thank you.
Okay.
No
Any
questions. Thank you.
for Fire Marshal McDonald?
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to Ms. DeLuca, Emergency Management.
Hi, good afternoon. So a couple updates. And Assistant Chief McCabe did mention the bridge fire. We had or participated in a statewide after action review a couple weeks ago at St. Anne's Club. And that was actually hosted by the Department of Transportation, the partner that we work with the most. Had a very good turnout of, again, a lot of the players, city departments and others that were involved, looking at what went well, what could be improved upon for the next time. Hopefully there will not be a next time for any future incidents. And again, that's really a practice that they try to do after some of these large accidents on state roads. So we had a good presence between Norwalk Fire and Norwalk Police and Public Works at that event. Currently working on the fireworks, which will be July 3rd or July 5th, depending on the weather. So we had a planning meeting this morning, and then we'll do some additional follow-up with a group leading up to the event. As you know, we are about to experience a heat wave. The temperatures are increasing this week. Thursday and Friday should be the worst of it. So we've done some messaging with our emergency management team, the community partners that we work with. Had a senior services call this afternoon. Communications has done a number of, or did a press release, social media updates that are scheduled for the rest of the week. And then we also put the extreme heat spotlight on the city's website. So that's again specific to this emergency. And we can turn that on and off throughout the summer. And then I'm trying to think what else. Our risk management person, Craig Schmidt, sent an email to the departments that have workers in the field with some OSHA safety messaging around heat safety. So this is part of our updated plan that we just revised with health department and a few other departments, knowing that extreme heat really will become more the norm as we go through the years. We just really worked on fine tuning our heat specific response, and this was all part of that. So it all came together pretty well. And then lastly, September 28th is planned for our open house. So this is again our Public Works, Fire Department, Police Department, and others at 15 South Smith Street. So it's always a huge event and a lot of fun. So again, that's on the books for this year. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from the commission?
No questions. Thank you, Michelle.
Great, thank you.
All right, now that brings us to the training division report, Deputy Chief Capola.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioners. So for some of the current things we've been working on, we've been working on some hazmat operational OSHA compliance training. Doing that on a continuing education unit basis, meaning we add up all the company drills that we do, and they count as the 8 hours that our members are required to maintain per year to continue to be certified for hazmat operations. We've been doing lots of operator training with trucks 1 and 2, with many members approaching final sign-offs to be qualified tiller and tractor operators. Also, we've been doing some continuing new member orientation and probationary firefighter task books. Just let me latch on to what Assistant Chief McCabe said about the academy that we did. That's definitely a training function. I participated in that as well. And I want to mimic what Assistant Chief McCabe said about Adam, Deputy Chief Markowitz running the probationary boot camp, if you will, to great success and really good training event for those new people. So that's also part of my report. We've been doing some rapid intervention team training, meaning our RIT air pack training. It's basically making connections to a down firefighter in low visibility. And that's a great hot weather drill because it could be done inside. So we've been doing that. That's actually going on this week, actually. Physicals are still ongoing. We're approaching completion, which is good. It's been ongoing for a couple of months now. It takes a while to get everybody through that. Through Hartford Healthcare, they've been doing a good job with moving our people through those physicals. Been very smooth so far. Marine Division has been doing a lot of training, notably handling deck equipment, deploying the Zodiac, and also deploying their Jacob's Ladder, which is their tool they use to bring people, unconscious people, from the water onto the boat. The injury prevention program, alive and well, being well participated in, and I like to think that that's one of the reasons why we have a lower amount of sick time, because our members are both mentally and physically fit, and that definitely leads to less usage of sick time. What else? Engine company operations. We're doing basic and advanced hose deployment ongoing. That kind of never stops. We always do that. As far as completed training opportunities, we have pump training activities, pump sign-offs for firefighter Stacy and firefighter Colomb. They've been signed off to drive engine 2, which is good because with the addition of new members, we need more drivers. Same for the aerial, the tiller operator sign-offs for firefighter Augusto and Kevin McDonald. And then there's others that are really getting close to being signed off. We're continuing with the hazmat operational refresher CEUs that I mentioned, with research metering and lockout tagout. Rescue operations or rope systems have been focused on over the past few weeks, for low angle rescue. And again, many members are just about finished with aerial and pump training and will be signed off shortly. Some of the upcoming training scheduled we have a tabletop exercise with King Industries this week. Actually, it's Thursday morning at 9 o'clock at King Industries. It's a simulated tanker versus train at the railroad crossing. I was able to encumber some funds to run a Fire Officer 1 certification class for our members here in Norwalk with confirmed dates fall 2024. It's in October, and I currently have 14 members enrolled. That's a great class for aspiring company officers. Really excited about that. With the completion of the pump class that we did with the state, I was able to kind of establish a relationship with the folks at Lakota Oaks, and they're going to allow us to use their their pond, I'm sorry, at the site to do some of that same water drafting from the static water source for our current drivers. And that's an opportunity we don't get all the time. It's a skill that we don't usually use too often because we have great hydrants, but having that drill on the schedule is going to be good. It's fun too. It's actually the guys and girls like it. Norwalk High School and Wegmans construction sites are active, and I've been visiting those places and meeting with safety people. And we're going to be doing some walkthroughs and some pre-planning during the construction phases of those buildings. We have some members who need to be refreshed in CPR, makeup classes. That's going to be a summer activity because that could be done inside. And then finally, I got some feedback from the troops on the floor, and they were asking me about possibly running a Spanish class for first responders to kind of be able to communicate more with a Latino community at calls without having to use an interpreter. And I contacted some folks at Brian McMahon High School in the World Language Department to see if they could help us with doing this program. So that's in the works. That's not scheduled yet, but I'm working on that. So that completes my report for June.
Again, it's a very impressive and ambitious report. We appreciate all the training that you do. When we're looking at the tabletop that Mr. Luca was talking about and other training programs, it's good that maybe the commissioners might want to sit in once in a while or watch once in a while to see what's going on, especially with the tabletop, that exercise that you're going to be doing. So
sure, absolutely. I would. Sorry, I didn't do that this time, Mayor. I definitely will involve that in the future for sure.
Yeah, that's also very, very, very interesting to watch the discussion that goes on. Tabletop exercise is really great, but if they ever do one out in the field, it's also nice to watch the setup and how it goes. I recall we did one down in the Commerce Street area about a train versus truck or something. I forget what that was, several years ago.
Yeah, if anyone's interested, Thursday at 9 a.m. at King Industries, you've been more than welcome to join. Tim Morissette, who's the chief of the response team down there, would love to have more people. He's been really promoting it, so it's an open invitation. I'll be there. I believe Assistant Chief McCabe will be there, and we'll be there participating on behalf of the fire department and the hazmat resource that we have here in Norwalk.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
I have a question on current training activities, item 5. What does the 1582 physicals mean?
Okay, yes, no problem. I could clarify that. So annually, NFPA recommends, there's no requirement. NFPA is a compliance standard, not like OSHA where they actually enforce. But the NFPA 1582 is the standard for firefighter health and wellness when it comes to medical surveillance. So our physical that we give it is exactly what is required. The requirements are all met in our physical for 1582 physical, which is the basic standard for firefighter health and wellness with specific to medical surveillance of our members.
Okay. And how many of our members have gone through that?
You know what? I would say I'm about 75% complete right now. And I'm kind of cycling in the fire marshal's office as well. And also the chiefs, we all go to. So I would say I'm about 75% complete right now at this time.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're
The
welcome.
whole department has to participate.
Yeah, and just a note, some members hold DOT, CDL, and you know, those physicals. It's not an additional physical; it's just more paperwork, and we've been filing all that paperwork. And we also have our hazmat technicians who require a certain additional blood tests for baseline heavy metals in their bloodstream. That's monitored as well, and that's part of the physical. So everything is covered. We have every base covered when it comes to medical surveillance of our members.
Okay. Any further comments or questions for Deputy Chief Capola? All right, so Chief, that brings us to the thank you letter for Cat McCrary.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
very short thank you letter. There was a gas call at 12 Putnam Avenue back in June 2nd. And they were just very expressing their thanks for all the help that we gave them, for the people that have responded. It's from Liv, Adriana, and Molly, whoever they are, but they're thankful and took the time to write a note for thanking us. It's always nice to hear that.
It's always
And,
nice to hear your efforts are
may I-
appreciated.
If I could just add on to the chief's comment, I made sure that those members knew that letter came through. I sent them a note as well that they were thanked for their efforts.
Good, yep. Okay, anything else from the commissioners? Commissioner Feinstein.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry I missed the last meeting, but I think maybe that's when Commissioner Dixon signed on and I haven't met you yet. Hi. Nice to meet you.
There you go. Can you shake hands? Okay, anything else going on? Okay, I think we're all set. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. The time is 3:38 PM and the next meeting will be next month. It's not on here, but next month,
July
Oh,
16.
July 15th.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I forgot to say that I sent you the resume for
Yes, I'm sorry. You
Greg
did.
Saunders. Okay, thank you.
He wants to be a chaplain, is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
All right, I have that, not in the office, yesterday and today. Unfortunately, I tore the muscle in the back of my calf.
Oh,
No.
that
And
hurts.
I've got a nice big boot on.
It takes a long
You
time
might
to
have seen me trying to adjust as I'm sitting here,
uh,
so. But, it'll get better.
Yeah.
Actually, when you get older, it just takes longer.
takes longer.
All right, well,
Feel better.
thank you all. We appreciate
Take
it.
care. All right.
Bye.
And thank you. Stay cool.
All right.
Yes.
You too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
You too.